There's no other power greater than the power over money, the power to create and contract the money supply, the power to control the purchasing power of your money. Throughout history, this has proven to be the most sought-after monopolistic.
Congressman Paul, I think you have questions and concerns about the bonanza in the hedge fund industry. Do you?
Yes, I think this is not a consequence of free markets. What's happening is there's transfer of wealth from the poor and the middle class to the wealthy. This comes about because of a monetary system that we have. When you inflate a currency or destroy a currency, the middle class gets wiped out. So the people who get to use the money first, which is created by the Federal Reserve System, benefit. So the money gravitates to the banks and to Wall Street. So that's why you have more billionaires than ever before. Today, this country is in the middle of a recession for a lot of people. Michigan knows about it. Poor people know about it. The middle class knows about it. Wall Street doesn't know about it. Washington, D.C. doesn't know about it. But it's because of the monetary system and the excessive spending. As long as we live beyond our means, we are destined to live beneath our means. And we have lived beyond our means because we are financing a foreign policy that is so extravagant and beyond what we can control, as well as the spending here at home, and we're depending on the creation of money out of thin air, which is nothing more than debasement of the currency. It's counterfeit, and it is a natural, predictable consequence that you're going to have people benefit from it and other people suffer. So if you want a healthy economy, you have to study monetary theory and figure out why it is that we're suffering, and everybody doesn't suffer equally, or this wouldn't be so bad. It's always the poor people, those on retired incomes, that suffer the most. But the politicians and those who get to use the money first, like the military-industrial complex, they make a lot of money and they benefit from it.
Thousands of foreclosures every day, which is affecting the whole community. These are not just people who took crazy subprime loans. These are people who are losing their homes because they lost their jobs. There was a moving article in the New York Times about over 1 million school children are going to school right now homeless. This is having a huge impact, not just on this generation, but on the next one. And the administration is still more concerned with saving Citigroup and saving the big banks, the big 5 banks that are now much bigger than they were a year ago.
And you know the thing, and you started to bring it up, and it's a question, Ron, that I keep raising on this show. Why is it that the same people, and I know, Ariana, you'll agree with me, the same people that got us in this mess, whether you're talking about Tim Geithner, that was at the wheel of that ship for a very long time, or whether you're talking about Larry Summers, that was part of some things that happened in 98 and 99, or whether you're talking about Hank Paulson that was pushing for 40-to-1 leverage rates. Why is it that these same people that got us in trouble are the same people that are still running this economy?
Well, they're in charge and they have the power and they still believe it. I mean, they're believers in Keynesian economics, but they're the ones who caused the trouble. Look, the president wants to give more power, to the Federal Reserve. And if you come anywhere close to my understanding of the Federal Reserve, that's the last thing. I want to get rid of the Federal Reserve, and here he wants to enhance it. But I think they're locked in. Whether they're Republicans or Democrats, they're going to support the corporations. Even in medical care reform, who do you think is going to come out well on this? Corporations, drug companies, and insurance companies, they're being protected. Everybody, some conservatives accuse Obama of wanting socialized medicine. I don't think so. I think he wants to perpetuate corporatism, whether it's in the financial markets or whether it's in medical care or whatever. So I just think that the difficulty is the transition. How do you go from where we need to go without hurting people? And quite frankly, you can't do it. People are going to be hurt one way or the other. I just want to minimize the pain, and I just don't want to put the pain on the taxpayer.
Take it. We have lost our faith and confidence in understanding how free markets work. We turned it upside down by saying anytime corporations get benefits, we call it capitalism and freedom. And it's corporatism. It's the military-industrial complex. It's all the special interests. And this is where Michael Moore gets it all wrong. He believes diligently in free markets because he believes in the First Amendment. He believes in making films. He doesn't believe in prior restraints. So why should he condemn capitalism? Right. Because he's condemning corporatism. I condemn it too. Special privileges of corporation is a big problem.
I would agree with Ron Paul in that corporations are getting, you believe, a free ride off of this administration as well as the last.
Well, I would also agree with Congressman Paul that this is not capitalist. This is not free enterprise capitalism.
It's not capitalism at all.
This is definitely not capitalism. This is really oligopoly.
Yeah.
And that's why we have, 92 smaller regional banks that have failed, 92 banks. But the 5 big banks are bigger than ever. Their profits are growing. Their toxic assets are still on the books. That's what I want us to discuss. Congressman Paul, how come a year later, after the bailouts, which was supposed to get rid of the toxic assets are still there and still a potential time bomb for another economic meltdown?
And Ron, we're up against a hard break, so give us a 30-second answer.
Well, because they haven't solved the problem, some of the toxic assets are now owned by the taxpayers. That's one thing. But this is my argument. They won't get rid of them. You have to liquidate it. You should allow the correction to occur in 1 year and get all those bad assets out of the way. The fact that they're propping them up means that we're working very hard to perpetuate this problem and turn it into the second Great Depression, if it's not as bad, but much worse if we continue to do what we're doing by not allowing those toxic assets to be liquidated.
Absolutely right. Congressman Ron Paul,
he was right before.
We're going to continue this conversation on the radio.